like everyone knows like the Trump's attack against Syria, and what is so surprising is that the U.S. media, no matter how they hate or attacking Trump before, actually praises Trump's decisive response to the chemical attack in Syria as being presidential and constitutional. So based on this piece of background news, do you think that Trump makes the right decision on launching the missile attack in Syria?
Actually, I have a difficult time figuring out the ethics of this issue, because it feels like, in seeing these images of children obviously getting attacked by chemical warfare, the immediate response is obviously we need to intervene, but maybe that's an emotional response. It's not a response based on the consequences or ethics if we think about it in a rational manner. So I guess then my question is what would punishing Syria for this, what would it actually accomplish? If sending the missiles to bomb Syria causes more casualties but doesn't help resolve the situation between Assad and ISIS, what are we really trying to accomplish? And so I have a hard time trying to figure out the emotional response versus what we should do based on the possible consequences. So I don't really have a strong stance on what was right or what was not right. I think I'm still trying to figure that out based on what's unfolding in the news.
It's actually part of my second question because, my second question is that do you think the attack against Syria is actually going to help address their domestic problems, such as the conflict between different powers or the ISIS?
Yeah. I'm not sure. I think we'll have to see in the future. But I wonder to what extent the U.S. was partly responsible for the chemical warfare in the first place, because I think I read somewhere in the New York Times that what Trump's advisors have said made the president of Syria think that was not going to be punished for chemical warfare. And so in that sense, that would have misled Assad and may have partially caused the chemical attack. So yeah, I'm not entirely sure. I think we'll see. For me, what happened after 9/11 and Iraq feels much more clear-cut, in the sense that we're going to war in Iraq, large-scale warfare with no evidence of weapons of mass destruction, and so that to me seemed very rash. As for Syria, I'm not entirely sure.
Okay, thank you. And because we can see that only 60 hours after the news of the chemical attack in Syria, the Trump's administration react. It seems that America leads in the very first place to intervene or something. So how do you position the Americans' involvement not just in Syria's warfare but also in the other international affairs? How do you position how depths they evolve, or in which field they evolve?
I definitely would prefer to see a situation where the U.S. cooperates with other nations through, for example, the UN to intervene in conflicts or in cases where people are killed or massacred. On the other hand, the problem is that the UN works much more slowly, and it's much more difficult to build that consensus to intervene in conflicts. That being said, I still prefer that if conflicts can be worked out through diplomacy or through international coalition, I think that would be better. Otherwise, I don't know. The U.S. making a unilateral attack could be read as self-interested. And also, I mean, then the U.S. has a big target on its back that other countries will position themselves as our enemies. So, yeah, I would, if it could be worked out where countries can come together and agree to do something about a conflict, then I wish that could happen. And thinking back on examples like the genocide in Rwanda, I wish there had been such a movement to intervene, but instead there really wasn't, and that makes me question why the U.S. would intervene in certain cases but not in others.
So what do you think are some of the criterions, not just like America, like all nations has to conform when they try to evolve in the international affairs?
You know, if a country intervenes, would that help that country itself, or is it the intervening actually is an act of good for that other country? And I think in terms of like the UN or international coalition intervening in some international conflict, I feel like the motivation should definitely be altruistic, that there should be further thinking on, like, you know, what is a war crime? What's actually going in that country? Is a genocide happening in that country? And therefore we should intervene and not simply intervene when it's an important political move for a particular nation, or because there's oil there, or for some other reason. So, and I'm wondering if there's a group of countries coming together to make these decisions, then, I don't know, could these decisions have a stronger ethical backing? I don't know, it's hard to decide, because even with like the Security Council and the UN, you know, obviously some country like Russia could say, you know, no, we're not going to get together and make a decision to intervene in the case of Syria, which would make you question Russia's motives for vetoing action.
What do you think should be done to preserve peace or avoid welfare on the national level?
Yeah, kind of cynical, and I don't think that peace is possible. I also think warfare has changed a lot in the last couple hundred years. So I think what we'll see is not so much the end of war, but that the kind of warfare will have changed. And it could be a good thing in the sense that if you have more technology or better technology, such as drones, maybe fewer soldiers will be killed in action, and that's a good thing. But on the other hand, does controlling the bombing of a city far away, if that's made easier and with fewer casualties in your military, would it make it easier for people to begin a strike on another country? In that case, that would be a bad thing. So I don't, yeah, for me it's hard to see it's hard to see the day when countries would stop fighting, because it seems like nations all want to preserve their own interest. If I were idealistic, I would hope that countries would come together and make decisions and avoid war instead of jumping to war to attack other countries. But people's ideologies are so different. So I don't know. I think it could be possible to, have a system of sanctions or a way to try to punish other countries if they're doing something wrong, but at the same time, like, you could avoid casualties, but that doesn't mean that you're not in a state of war. But I do like Afia's idea that if we could just get used to each other, then maybe the world would be a better place. But at the same time, maybe that happens on the individual level, but without really transferred to the level of nations. Even if we all individually liked each other, would governments still go to war over territory or over resources? So I'm not so sure about that.